The long drought is over for, you know, anybody who actually cares. I don't know. I'm not sure if I care. That's part of why I decided to do this today, is before and possibly instead, depending on how long this takes, of, doing Guardians today. I want to, you know, continue our long-standing tradition of making a bingo card for Nintendo Directs, and only Nintendo Directs, because fuck Summer Game Fest. Even though you did give us, well, is there anything there that necessarily blew my socks off? Not really. So, no, actually, still fuck you, Summer Game Fest. You don't get a bingo card. It's funny, I could make a bingo card a lot easier when I just, like, narrow my scope in on Nintendo than if it's like literally any company, including companies that didn't even exist a year ago, could show up here. On which note, I will say, I don't think I said this in my stream when I did the React stream, but good job, Jeff Keighley, in realizing that some companies were actually just spending every dollar they had on putting a trailer in Summer Game Fest and hoping that a big studio would reach out to publish their game. And if nobody reached out, they just canceled the game and bankrupted. Good on him for realizing that, and there are a lot fewer, like... And now here's a guy who spent 10 years making an FPS. Like, there's no high guards here, you know? There's no make FPSs great again guy. Good on Jeff for that. It's like, only people... Either you're an established company who has released something before and therefore we know has the cash to continue running even if this doesn't get you a publishing deal, or you're somebody who has enough credibility in the industry that I trust that you're not just trying to use me as a get-rich-quick scheme. Good on Jeff. Anyway, though. Oh, look, it's the background. Crazy. Let's see. Which of my 50 million browser windows? You. Ah! Alright, how awful of a time are we going to have making this fit? It's on my primary monitor, which means it's in 2K resolution. Good enough. You have to live with that little bar at the bottom. Actually, I could do something silly. Well, no, I can't, because if I mouse off the video, the bar goes away. Rippy Skippy! Anyway. Well, actually, you know what? Let's zoom this in a little further, actually. That's the background. Yeah, that should help us actually be able to read what's on the screen, right? Yep, much better. Very good. Alright. Oh, I almost actually heard that. That means I'm getting old. Cracked my fingers and I actually almost heard it. As you can see, I've already filled in the free space. We're not gonna beat around the bush here. We're not gonna pretend that the leakers are fake. Alright? The leakers, all the leakers that said Star Fox Remake coming this year, said OOT Remake also coming this year. Supposed back of Incredible People. Well, I've already filled in the one. Everybody who said Star Fox said OOT Remake, so we're just making it the free space. My nightmare scenario that I expect is going to happen is that this is going to be their one more thing. We're going to reach the end of the Direct, and they're going to be like, and now we have one more thing from a very legendary franchise. And we're all just going to groan and sit down in our seats, or, you know, streamers are going to just mute the stream, and they're just going to start talking about their thoughts, because everybody knows this is coming. If Nintendo is smart, they saw this got leaked to hell and back, and they're gonna say, listen, everybody knows it's coming. Let's just start the Direct with it. Let's just cold open with the OOT Remake that everybody knows is happening, and hopefully people will like it. And there we go. I think it's also going to be Breath of the Wild style. I know a lot of people really don't want to hear that. And a lot of people really do want to hear that. But I think they're going to have... I think they're gonna... dig their... Well, you heard claims the remake will have the most screen time during the Direct. That's good, actually. Okay? I'm actually okay with that. That means that... Why are these songs getting progressively louder? Kirby 64 and Mario Party are like the loudest games ever created by man. But yeah, most screen time is good because Nintendo doesn't usually do like what Jeff did with the Game Awards, where like, and here's our one more thing, and then there's a trailer for FF7 Revelation. And then, now let's bring out the director of the game to talk about it. And he talks about it for, you know, 5 minutes. And then he's like, to continue explaining the game, let's bring out the voice of Vincent Valentine, Matthew Mercer. And then Matt Mercer comes out. And there's a trailer that he narrates. I assume he narrated that beforehand. And he's just on stage because, you know... To be kind of blunt about it, he was on stage because they wanted somebody who could kind of hurry up the proceedings. We've all seen, well, a lot of us have probably seen FF14 fan fests. We know how long these kinds of announcements can take when you have to have the director talk in Japanese, then the translator talk in English, and then they usually banter back and forth a little bit before going back to the Japanese for the next slide. Like, Matt Mercer was there so that somebody who actually is a native English speaker could kind of keep things moving. But yeah, he comes out, and then there's a second trailer. And then they do vamp for a little bit. And then there's a third trailer. And then they vamp a little bit more. And then there's a fucking fourth trailer. Yeah, Nintendo doesn't really do that at the end of their directs. They're like, here's one more thing. Trailer plays, date of usually next year. In fact, let's just, you know, start adding some words here. 2027. One more thing. Okay, so that's how that works. Okay, I need to figure out how that works. Like, let's just add that right away. Their one more thing is gonna be a game that's just releasing in it's just gonna be generic 2027. Alright? OOT hopefully giving it the most screen time means it's going to be put, like, right in the middle. It's their prime billing slot. If this is a 40-minute direct, this game will pop up, like, 15 to 25 minutes in. Then they'll talk about it for 10 minutes. Now, as I was getting at before... I love having a little thing that I'm literally just playing with in my hands here. I'm not going to say what the thing is. Just use your imaginations. But, What's again? Oh, yeah. Breath of the Wild, fine. If it's having the most amount of screen time, then that tells me this game has been changed substantially. Yeah, see, that's the thing, is which one would you hate more? Would you hate the lowest possible effort, which is just we took OOT 3D and ran it through an AI upscaler? Or would you hate that they literally, like, dug in, ripped out the guts, tossed them out, grabbed Breath of the Wild, and just kind of plungered it in there? Because I think that's what they're... Like, if they are going to be spending the most amount of time on this, that means they have changed it substantially. That means they have to sit down, stop, and, like, stop the proceedings for, like, 10 minutes and explain to people how Ocarina of Time will play now, because it won't play the way that Ocarina of Time fans of the last 30 years remember it playing. Because I think... See, I say Breath of the Wild fine, but I do think it's going to be kind of an iteration on Breath of the Wild. Like, I don't think it's literally just... We pasted OOT's Hyrule, scaled everything up by a factor of 2, and you're done. No, I mean... They need something that replaces shrines, as far as... Like, it's going to be a big world. I do think you are talking an OOT Hyrule on the scale of Breath of the Wild. Maybe the scale of Tears of the Kingdom, even. Which, Tears had a very vertical scale. Imagine squishing that down. Well, actually, no, you don't necessarily have to squish it down. Because OOT has technically 2 Hyrules in it. It has past Hyrule, and it has future Hyrule. So I do think probably OOT Remake will have 2 Hyrules on the scale of Breath of the Wild's base game Hyrule. And then that extra, like, verticality, the sky and the underground, especially the underground, from Tears of the Kingdom, they're going to just kind of package them together as future Hyrule. So I do think it's going to be a big game. I think it's going to be an open world game where they will once again, maybe not literally, but once again it will be a game where, you know, you see that mountain over there? You can go to that mountain. Interesting. Capturing that window is how I realize I've got some lines on my screen that pop up every so often when I'm in certain windows. Those are actually on the monitor, because it's not capturing, like, I'm seeing a little line, like, halfway between the bottom of that one more thing box on the left and the bottom of the screen. There's a little line there that pops in and out. That's only on my monitor. That's not on the capture. That's very interesting and a little concerning. Serves me right for buying the Republic of Gamer brand. Seriously, total sidebar, but I got, like, a ton of ROG shit in my computer. This computer sucks, by the way. Just worth reminding myself. This computer sucks. It's mostly ROG parts. I might be one of those people coming around to, like, ROG is a scam brand. But that's neither here nor there. Back to the matter at hand. OOT Remake. It's gonna be big. It's gonna be open world. It's gonna be one of those, you know, you can climb that mountain. I do think Kokiri Forest is going to be kind of your Great Plateau. Where, like, they're going to kind of seal it off somehow. Maybe it's super elevated like the Great Plateau was, or maybe it's actually sunken down. Maybe it's kind of like a forest that's sunken into the ground more now. But the idea is it's going to be a very clearly defined space. Where it's like, if you exit this space, you're going to get consumed by the Void Out Fog until you beat the Deku Tree. At which point, you can then leave and go... I mean, it could also be literally just a bottomless ravine surrounds it. Where it's like, you have to take that one bridge out, like in the OOT game. And that bridge essentially is blocked by Mito still until you beat the Deku Tree, at which point he moves. And now you can take the only bridge out of the Kokiri Forest region. But the idea basically is that's going to be kind of your training ground. Then once you exit the Kokiri Forest, it's now open world. Like, I think one of the first major things that's going to happen is, you know how after you... This is going to turn into an hour of me just kind of talking through this game, by the way, just you watch. As soon as you, like, cross that bridge, in true Breath of the Wild fashion, you're not going to be told, you know, go see the princess at Hyrule Castle. No, you're going to cross that bridge, and a quest pop-up is going to appear that just says, collect the spiritual stones. Like, I think they're going to move it that the Deku Tree is the one that tells you to collect the spiritual stones, so that then as soon as you leave, you essentially have kind of 3 missions all under one kind of header, collect the spiritual stones. Number 1, go meet Zelda. Number 2, get the Goron Ruby. Number 3, get the Zora Sapphire. You can accomplish those 3 goals in any order you want. And if you want, you can fuck off and go climb mountains for 2 hours. I think there'll probably be some kind of analog shrines, which will replace heart pieces. I think a lot of the side quests that were in OOT will still be there. They're just going to be retooled to give you... And now here's where I have to stop and think. Because I think this is the biggest question. This is really, I think, the biggest question. When people... Looking at you, say they don't want a Breath of the Wild fight OOT, there are 2 points to which they are speaking about. Number 1 is dungeons, which I think let's all put down our pitchforks on that one. In fact, I am so confident in it, I'm going to actually make a bingo square for it. Dungeons remain in OOT. Alright? We're just gonna... I'm so confident of that. I think they are going to... I think they understand people were still scared about dungeons after Tears of the Kingdom. Because Tears of the Kingdom's dungeons are... They're awkward, to say the least. They kind of took a dungeon and put it under a guillotine and just chopped it in half. And the one half of it, the very linear OOT style half, is your progression up to the entrance of the dungeon. And then inside the dungeon is a very open-ended, task-oriented thing, like the Divine Beast Sword. It was kind of this weird hybrid. I think they are going to get rid of the hybrid part entirely. Dungeons will remain in the OOT remake, even though it's Breath of the Wild style. They will still be very linear, they will still have puzzles, they will still end in a boss fight. I think they will go so far as to, like, show you the inside of, whether it be Forest Temple, Water Temple, Deku Tree, Dongo's... They will literally show the inside of a dungeon. They will walk in there and look around with the camera and go, see, we have not ruined the dungeons. The most famous part of Ocarina of Time. We have expanded them, streamlined them. In the case of the Water Temple, probably completely overhauled it. But they are still there, and they still play like always. Alright? Now, here's the one where I was like, quest will still be there, but, and trailed off. This is the other thing. Like, I think we can all put our pitchforks down on dungeons. I'm so confident that dungeons will be there, I put it on the board. What I am not sure about, and what is the other thing I think a lot of people fear, is equipment. Weapons, durability, armor, and the item menu of OOT. Is there still going to be a hook shot? Is there still going to be a bomb bag? What about arrow types? Spells? Hammer? Is the hammer just going to become a generic weapon? What does that do to the fire temple then? I think there is probably going to be I think there's going to be equipment in the OOT remake. There's going to be, you know, different types of swords. There's going to be different types of armor. Like, more than just Zora and Goron armor. Like, the Goron tunic is going to be part of a full, like, 3-item set that gives you fire resistance that you'll need for the fire temple. That kind of stuff, I think, is going to be there. I think that's just too Breath of the Wild to go away. But I do think some of the items are going to stay. I think bombs are going to become how they work in... I think bombs are going to work probably similar to how they do in Tears of the Kingdom, where they are a limited resource, but you can just... Which is kind of Skyward Sword style, you know? You pluck a bomb, you put it in your bag, pluck a bomb, put it in your bag, you know? It's going to work kind of like that. Maybe you have to unlock it still in Dodongo's Cavern, but I think that's going to kind of work more in its modern iteration. Arrows are going to work like their modern iteration. They might even honestly get... There's a world where they get rid of the slingshot and just give Child Link the bow like an MM. Just so you can have access to elemental arrows as a child. I could see that happening. But yeah, I think bombs and arrows work like they will in Tears of the Kingdom. The funkier stuff, like the hammer, like the hook shot especially, the spells, I think actually those are going to stay. You wouldn't mind ammo being removed entirely? So working like in Breath of the Wild where you just pull a magic bomb out of your ass? I could see it, but the fact they got rid of it in Tears of the Kingdom, I think, makes me leery. I think maybe they think they went too far with bombs in Breath of the Wild. But maybe. Who knows? But yeah, hookshot. Hookshot's kind of the big one here. Let's just all kind of be honest here. The one everyone's concerned about is what's going to happen with hookshot. I think stuff like the hookshot, the spells, the hammer, the lens, I think those are going to remain. I think the hover boots are also probably going to get merged into this. I think they're going to stay as a secondary mechanic. Like how Breath of the Wild had the Sheikah Slate, and how Tears of the Kingdom had the arm spells. I think there's going to be a mechanic like that. And also how, like, Breath of the Wild had the skills you got from the champions. Tears of the Kingdom had the skills you got from the sages. And, well, literally summoning the sages will not return. Alright, let's just throw that out there right now. But I think, essentially, man, I kind of want to just pull up a... I just want to pull up a drawing thing here. Hold on. Once again, it's on my main screen, so it's giant as frick. Oh, hey, look at that. Huh. Fancy that. Okay, so. Alright. I think in your, like, main menu, and I kind of want to pull up, like, the OOT. Actually, hold on. Well, no. We know what this looks like. Alright. So, let me actually make this bigger. Scale image. A nice HD image. So yeah, like in your menu, you're gonna have, you know, there'll be the usual menu we're all accustomed to. L R. I'm literally drawing the Breath of the Wild menu from memory. That's how much I remember it. And then yeah, you're gonna have like oh, there you are. You're really tiny. Quests. You'll have like your usual, you know, quests, which will tell you what to do. You'll have your equipment. And here's... I throw it on the correct screen here. Obviously, we know what quests is. That'll be, you know, your, you know, go collect 5 chickens for Anju will be listed there. Or, you know, your main stuff, like, get the, like, rescue the sages will be written there. System, obviously, is, you know, the usual stuff. Save, quit, options, whatever. Equipment and items, I think, are going to be 2 entirely separate systems. So equipment is going to be, you know... Why are these all so small today? When I want them small is when they... When I want small text, it gives me big text. And when I want small text, it gives me small text, but it never gives me small text. Oh. No, not T70. Okay. Alright. GIMP is a program that works sometimes. Armor. Helm. Legs. Do I think they're... So yeah, armor, helm, legs, you know, the typical trio for X of the Y game. Set bonuses for each. So, you know, if you have all 3 fire resist pieces, you can survive being in the fire temple. All 3 water pieces removes your breath gauge for the water temple, that kind of stuff. There'll be some that gives you, like, resistance, like, reduces damage taken, or stuff like that. Nulls electric damage, blah, blah, blah. We know the drill. I'm realizing I should have put an extra category in here. Hold on, we can still fix this. Set bonuses for each. I like how drawing this out is taking like double the time that it would have taken me just to explain this concept. But I was like, I feel like I need a visual aid. So yeah, items, you know. At least none of this just started at 70. Start at 70, darn you. Food, again. Enemy drops. Bombs. Arrows. Oh yeah. What equipment we also have. Melees. Bows. Slings? Maybe slingshots, maybe not slingshots. I don't know. Oh yeah. Shields. I think arrows are going to be back. I think they're not going to do the, like, fusion mechanic again, obviously. And up here, I'm going to change system quickly into... See, here's the thing, is I'm like... You know what? I'm gonna call it spells. Anybody who's been around OOT long enough knows why I just chose that phrase. And I think that... Are you still not 70? Why are you working correctly when I don't want you to work correctly? Bins. Neighbors. Rory's. Sages? Question mark? Okay, so anyone who's been around OOT long enough probably knows the old story of the medallions and how they were originally meant to be equipable items that would give you abilities. Like the Wind Medallion, which was later reworked into the Forest Medallion. That would give you the effect that we know in our world as Ferrari's Wind. The Fire Medallion would give you the power of Din's Fire. I think they might bring that mechanic back. Now, you might be saying to yourself, but wait a minute, don't you need the hookshot to get into the Forest Temple? How would they do that? Oh, it's quite simple. This is where the hookshot. So I'll just abbreviate the hook here. This is where the lens. This is where hovers. I don't know about irons. I mean, irons have to go somewhere, but I feel like a spell that just makes you sink isn't super useful. But I think this is where kind of all of those things that don't necessarily fit into the current Breath of the Wild game system are going to go, so they don't have to be removed. So you can still have the ability to hook yourself across gaps, for instance. You know, yeah, there's a climbing mechanic now, and you could just climb up the side, but what if, you know, for instance, instead of big... You know, what about crossing the gap into Gerudo Fortress? You can't just climb down and climb up the other side. You don't have enough stamina for that. How would you get across? Use the hook power. Maybe, since you no longer have to... If this is a Breath of the Wild style game, you no longer have... You can now just climb up the side of that broken staircase to get in to the Forest Temple. So instead, remember how earlier I said, what if the Kokiri Forest is just surrounded by a death ravine on all sides? The only access point is the bridge in Lost Woods that we all know and love, which now instead just crosses the ravine. What if they make it so that, as an adult, that bridge is gone. Ganondorf destroyed it when he cursed the forest to be full of monsters now. And now as an adult, you're like, well, shoot, how do I get across that? I know, let's use my cool new hookshot power that I got from Rauru when he gave me the light medallion. Now you still have the requirement of needing a hook, it's just been moved to a more appropriate place. And kind of redesigned as a, you know, one of those special powers you get from beating a dungeon, like in modern Zelda games. See, it's a little... I'm not a game developer, obviously. I haven't fully thought this through, because I'm thinking about it and I'm like, well, where would you get irons from? Or where would you get, like, hovers from? What do you do with the mini-bosses that originally dropped those items? And maybe the spells aren't directly tied to the sages then. Maybe the spells are still given where their normal items are, but now they're given as spells instead of as items, you know? Something kind of like that, where it still keeps that general kind of shape of OOT, but it's that shape that's been beaten with hammers until it looks a little more like Breath of the Wild. Like, you still have things like requiring the hookshot. Once with them getting back in the groove and making it more traditional Zelda? I don't think that's happening, though, and this is unfortunately a bingo. This is unfortunately a stream for things I think are happening. But yeah. I can, in fact, just put an image in here. I could just put... Fuck, where'd it go? I could just put this in here. Just as its own kind of thing. But yeah, I guess that's just kind of my thought on how it could potentially work. Like... Listen. I've been firing a mile a minute on, like, Persona 6 stuff for the last day and a half. I'm in the groove. But yeah. I think one more thing is going to be a game that gives a 2027 release date generically. Dungeons are going to remain in OOT. Let's, how do we... Hookshot survives. Hey, we'll put Hookshot survives on there. That's an easy way of kind of explaining the concept that I was getting at here. Which is just the general idea that, like, stuff like the hookshot is going to survive, just probably kind of modified to fit a Breath of the Wild style game. But you will still be able to hookshot stuff. And that's kind of the big one that people want to see survive. I think if those two things both happen, and it's a Breath of the Wild style game, I'm gonna be honest, me at least, that's enough to justify its existence. It's not enough to justify the $80 they'll charge for it, though, let's be honest. Alright. Talk about other stuff that we could see. I'm just gonna throw this one out there right now, because it's constantly on top of my head. Fortune's Weed is still a generic 2026 release date, by the way, so I think we're going to see more of Fortune's Weave. And probably either confirmation of a delay to 2027 or a release date. I think they have to show more than the first 20% of the game. Especially if it's coming out this year, like... I guess the only way it doesn't is... Well, but they said it's the thing that... Leakers have said it's the thing they're going to spend the most amount of time on. Which tells me that this is probably, like... This is the big info dump for the game. So I think they're going to show us dungeons they're going to show us items are still a thing. They're going to show us how they Breath of the Wild-fied it, while still keeping that OOT core identity intact. Because if they were just going to say, tune in July for the Ocarina of Time Remake Direct, then they wouldn't spend more than, like, 5 minutes on this game. Whereas it sounds like they're going to spend 10 to 15 minutes on it. Like, I don't know. I get this feeling that this is going to be kind of their big info dump, and maybe they'll loop back around in September to tell us more. But I think this is where, like, if you only see one thing about this remake, this is the one to see, I think. Also, speaking of things for looping back around on, somehow, against all odds, Splatoon Raiders is going to get another fucking trailer. It's had, like, 3 trailers now. It's gonna get another one because it's releasing soon. On the note of things releasing soon, I think we're gonna get more news on Star Fox 2026. I don't think they're going to announce any new levels. Well, there were some leaks about Star Fox 2026. Let me use my good old pal Windows here to look them up. I love how my Windows keyboard is quieter than my regular Linux keyboard, by the way. I look up Star Fox 2026 leaks, by the way, and everything is just Star Fox confirms OOT remake. No. I know people leaked things about the fucking Star Fox game. There was something people were saying about, I don't remember if it was new levels, or if it was, like, new game modes, or if it was new characters. But somebody was leaking... Somebody who leaked the game correctly said that, like, we don't know the full story of what's in the Star Fox remake yet. So that's why I'm putting it here. I think they're gonna be like, oh, by the way, there's like 2 new levels in the game to finish the original intended medium route. Which, for those of you who don't know, Star Fox has leftover information for 2 stages. One called Battleship, and one called Habitat, I believe, which were supposed to be, in the case of Battleship, it was a medium exit out of Corneria, and in the case of Habitat, it was actually supposed to be where Area 6 is now, and Area 6 was supposed to be on the medium route, which would have led to a medium difficulty version of Venom. So there were supposed to be 3 full routes in Star Fox 64. Maybe they'll announce that they have restored the original medium difficulty route. Or maybe they'll announce that, you know... Because some people have noted that there is... The way the Star Fox team flies would imply a missing R-Wing in their formations in the trailer. Maybe there's an extra character. Maybe they're backporting Crystal into 64. One can dream. She wouldn't be as fun as the Adventure Crystal, though, considering how badly Command fucked her over. Listen, there's no Crystal better than the Crystal in Star Fox Assault. Perfect voice acting choice for her. Anyway, so that's why I think we might see more of that. There's another absolute slam dunk here with ads about to start, I see. Switch over to the correct keyboard. Acopia DLC. This was another one that was in leaks. Originally, before launch, people were saying that they were... Remember that giant Giga leak from Game Freak last year, which is where we got kind of To be blunt, we got a lot of information about Wind and Waves before it was revealed. That's how we knew it was, like, Southeast Asian based. I think that's where we knew it was named Wind and Waves. We got our kind of first look at the overall topography of the region. Well, in that same Giga Leak, there was information about Pocopia. Namely, that there were 3 DLCs that were being planned. 2 of which were far enough along that they had concrete ideas. That being a swampy version of Lavender Town, and a frozen version of the Indigo Plateau / Victory Road. So I think those 2 are absolutely getting announced. There was information on a 3rd one that was being planned based around Viridian Woods. I think it's safe to say it's unclear given the existence of Pallet Town in the game, which, again, I've gone into a fair amount of detailing on the map of Pocopia, and I think what the game actually calls Pallet Town is geographically Viridian City. Because that's the only place where, logically, if the route of Cycling Road had been edited to connect eastward instead of northward, it would have connected into Viridian City, not Pallet Town. Because like the direction it's facing in game is it's facing roughly to the northeast. To connect to Pallet Town, it would have to face due east. So that logically says that it probably connects to Viridian City, not Pallet Town, despite the game calling it Pallet Town, but that's getting into the weeds. The more important thing is there's been leaks since the game released that have indicated that they might be working on as many as 6 DLCs for that game. Which I guess doesn't necessarily mean 6 DLC packs. It could be 3 DLC packs where each pack gives you 2 regions. They're just working on potentially up to 6 new regions. Which sounds like... One thing that was leaked that sounded like they had abandoned was the idea of expanding into Johto. If they're working on 6 regions, very possible that the game sold so bonkers that they brought back the, hey, what if we just add Johto as a DLC? Point being, there's a lot of smoke saying there's going to be Pocopia DLC. And Nintendo doesn't like to support games past a year, so I suspect we'll probably see those first 2 regions, the Swamp Lavender Town and Frozen Victory Road. We're probably going to see those with confirmation of more DLC further down the road as well. This is one that's... So if you watched like the start of the Summer Game Fest, I was taking some shots. I'm gonna pull my sniper rifle back out and just take a shot here. With something that I can't mark until the direct is over. No! World DLC. None. I think Mario Kart World is a one and done game. That sounds like sacrilege, given Mario Kart 8 got 4 DLC packs, right? Yeah, I think it was 4 DLC packs in 8. Deluxe got another 4. And then the Booster Course Pass came along years later with another 8 cups. That sounds like sacrilege after all of that to say Mario Kart World is a one-and-done game. It released, and it's done. That team has moved on to something else. But I think that's what happened. It has been a year now, and we know Nintendo does not like to support games past year 1. Unless they are Smash or Splatoon. 8 Deluxe being kind of the only exception to that rule. With Animal Crossing, 1 year, done. And I think that's kind of the damning one. If they wouldn't support Animal Crossing past year 1, why do we think they're going to support Mario Kart World if it has received no DLC announcement in its entire first year? If this game was truly meant to be the successor to 8 Deluxe, why did they not pre-approve DLC? Why, a year in, would they not have DLC ready to go? The only reason is because DLC does not exist. And I bet you, somebody someday will ask Nintendo, what happened with Mario Kart World? Why did 8 receive so much long-term support, but World didn't? And you know what Nintendo's answer is going to be? They're going to say something along the lines of, we considered long-term support for Mario Kart World. However, we could not figure out a way to integrate new DLC tracks into the existing open world in a way that felt fluid. They probably looked at the map and said, well, we can't just paste new highways and new courses in, because that will mess with the intermission courses that are already there. So instead, to implement DLC, we would have to implement them as independent islands outside the main game map. And that means that we could only do intermission choruses within or coming out once or coming in once, dramatically reducing the amount of intermission chorus paths we could create for these. Therefore, we concluded it was not worth it to add them at all. And I think that will be partial truth. The other part is, they would have figured out a way to make it work had the game sold better. Had the game been... Well, the game sold well. But that was because it was bundled with the Switch 2 for most people. I bet you individual box sales are pretty poor on that game. And the fact that it lost the PR war to Sonic, I think was the final nail in the coffin of guaranteeing that game will never receive long-term support. You're already seeing YouTubers realizing their writing is on the wall. I've seen many YouTubers who have basically released videos saying, like doing their big collab groups where it's like, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe line, we're back. Like, they're giving up on World. They realize this game has no long-term support plan. The 8 Deluxe is still just a better game. It plays better too. Like, I think that's the world we're in, is we're gonna get past this direct, there's gonna be no World DLC, and that is when the dam is gonna break, and everyone is going to agree. Don't. It looks worse, but who cares? Like, this direct is the moment Mario Kart World officially dies. Alright. Is this where I finally start to run out of stuff? We know that there's something floating around out there about Smash, I know. List of rumors on the Smash Bros. Wiki. Okay, yeah. Based on leaks and rumors, a new Smash Bros. Will arrive on the Switch within the next couple of years. Zelda game and movie in 27, we know what that's about. Smash Bros. In the next year or two. Having just done Kirby Air Ride, I still think it's too early for Smash. I want to put Smash on here so bad, but I don't believe it's happening. Like, I think Smash Reveal is next year. What else do we got? The problem is no fucking news site reports on leaks, and I hate it. 50 minutes! Wow, okay. I might have to do a react to that after work tomorrow. Wouldn't be super hard, because I have to go get groceries anyway tomorrow. I could unplug from Blue Sky pretty damn easily. The problem is, I probably have to also unplug from Discord. Well, instead of leaks, let's ask rumors. The next Nintendo Direct might have accidentally been leaked. Okay, predictions and rumors. Alright, so Nate the Hate said that apparently OOT remake in development, Pikmin 4 Switch 2 edition, don't care. Honestly, I'm just gonna make a generic statement here. At least 3 Switch 2 editions. There you go. That's where all those, rumors of like, Xenoblade 2 Switch 2 edition, Pikmin Switch 2 edition. There's at least 3 of those. There you go. Duskbloods have the second. The fuck is Duskbloods? Is that Blood of Dawnwalker? The fuck is the Duskbloods? Oh, yeah, that's right. There's one game I forgot to mention here. Every time we use the wrong keyboard. You know what? Make it generic. Release date for Danganronpa 2x2. Duskbloods, not Blood of Dawnwalker. I appreciate I'm reading this up on what Duskbloods is. This has been controversial to From fans who have traditionally enjoyed incredibly difficult solo experiences. Fun fact, apparently FromSoft made an RPG once. I own it. Didn't know that till I saw somebody on YouTube saying that they did a playthrough of FromSoft's Forgotten RPG. Not Bloodborne. Yeah, it's also not Bloodborne, but considering my first thought was, what is that? Is that Blood of Dawnwalker? That's the joke I'm making. Let's see. I'm not a From fan, and I also have no interest in Duskbloods because it looked bad. I remember what that game is now. Let's see. There was something else I was gonna toss in. Oh yeah. Let's see. Nintendo Switch Online. Pokemon Coliseum for Switch Online finally gets a release date. You know what? Nintendo DS games coming to Nintendo Switch Online. They managed to get the Virtual Boy on there. Surely they can figure out the DS. Kirby Planet Robobot Porter Remake. Don't care. 3D Mario is the thing a lot of people are rumoring about, and I still don't think so. I think the Mario Odyssey team did Donkey Kong Bonanza and then started on a 3D Mario. I think 3D Mario is still several years out. Like, I think you're talking 28 at the earliest for 3D Mario. I'm not putting that down. In fact, actually, you know what? This was just kind of a dart thrown at the board here, but if they want to just slap 2DS screens on one screen. Yeah. I feel like they've done that before, though. Wasn't DS games coming to, like, the old Virtual Console for the Wii U? I mean, that had two separate screens, I guess. But still. Oh yeah, Mario Maker 3. That's a dart thrown at the wall. That's a game people have been asking for a bit now. On which note, it has been 6 years since COVID. That's 5 years that they could have been working on this, and I don't think this is a 2026 release game. This is probably like a 27 release game. But it's time for a new Animal Crossing. Third-party announcements, yeah. I mean, we know the third-party sizzle reel is gonna be there. Sitting here and I'm thinking, do I want to make a thing for... You know what? I'm going to do this one as a meme. FF14, not as a sizzle reel. But they actually give an actual trailer for FF14 on the Switch 2. Not that little, like, 5-second clip of a 20 FPS dungeon we saw at Summer Game Fest. Like an actual, like, story trailer for the game. Or maybe they go really silly and they're like, they literally just re-air the teaser trailer we got for Evercold. But, man, holy fuck! How mad would people be if they just cold played the Evercold trailer at the Nintendo Direct when the game isn't even out on Switch 2 yet? Like, as far as spoiler trailers go, there's the Heavensward trailer, which is just by and away the most spoilerific trailer ever, to the point where they had to put a warning on it. And I think number 2 is Evercold. Just because it names where you're going. Like, I don't even want to necessarily say where you're going, just in case someone is watching this at some point who doesn't know where you go in Evercold, because holy fuck, spoiler. Also, yeah, they mentioned, yeah, we're in dire need of more GameCube games. It's been over a year and Sunshine still isn't on Switch Online. Next Level Games hasn't had a game out in 4 years. Hold on. Ah, damn. I was like, Mario Soccer game, and then that's what Mario Strikers was. That was the last Next Level game. What is the last Mario sports game to come out? Sports games. Mario Golf was in 21. Tennis was in 26. Baseball hasn't had a game since 08. Soccer in 22. Famicom Grand Prix got replaced by Mario Kart. Man, these are always the most disappointing games when they come up. Because it's like, man, I wish they could just go back to the old days when they just played sports and we didn't have, you know, fucking 50 million power-ups and special gimmicks everywhere. They make me mad every time. But, you know, for the sake of my sanity, I'm just going to not include a sports game. I don't think there's going to be a Mario sports game. Fuck it. Mario RPG games. Last one was Brothership in 24. We haven't had a Paper Mario game. Well, we had the TTYD remake, I guess, in 2024. RPG remake in 23. Actually, here's one that would be annoying but not unwelcome. Finish off the trilogy of good Mario RPGs. Paper Mario N64 remake. Either that or a new Mario, or that or a new Paper Mario. But I don't know, I think Paper Mario was stuck in the remake mines. I think Origami King was its last shot to not be sent to the mines, and Origami King came up just short of what people wanted. They got like 90% of the way to clearing the bar. %, but it just wasn't enough. Way too soon for Animal Crossing. I don't know why people say that. It's been 6 years. I feel like because Animal Crossing had such absurd staying power due to COVID, people forget that game came out in early 2020. Like, yes, that game wasn't supplanted until Pocopia came out, like, this year. But that game is still 6 years old with effectively no support after year 1. Like, I don't think it's too early for an announcement of a new Animal Crossing coming next year. This is where I'm starting to run out of stuff, because, like... This is where it's like, I start looking around and I'm like, do I just start running down the, early years of the Switch and seeing what has, like, languished? Maybe. Let's do it. Switch games. First party Switch games. Sort by release date. New Bayonetta. No. New Arms. No. I'll do it, but I'm not gonna be happy about it. New Wii trailer. I don't think it's gonna happen. If we get a new Wii trailer, that means Wii's early 2027. I think most people have kind of assumed... Well... Have most people assumed it's late 2027, or is that mostly just me? I've just kind of assumed it's their holiday 27 game. If we see another Wii trailer already, that means it's absolutely, like, February. Another fucking February. You know, people complain that September has become the month of death. Like, those first 2 months of 2027 are also, like, a period of absolute death. Especially, like, we already for sure have Evercold and P4R coming out. If we toss in Wii, if we toss in Code Veronica Remake, like, it's starting to become kind of a month of death again. Yoshi just got something. Smash, I've said, is probably another year off for the reveal yet. 2D Mario, maybe? I've got Mario Maker 3 on here. Well, nah, they just did Bell Park. Mario Maker 3, already have a Fire Emblem up there. We know what Platinum is doing, and it's the Last Ronin. They could confirm Last Ronin for Switch, but that's not worth a bingo spot. And then we already hit 2020, by the way. With Animal Crossing, more Xenoblade, Origami King. When did Pikmin 4 come out? '23. Yeah, I think it's still too early for a new Pikmin. You know what? I'll throw this one out there for the fans. And/or Prime 2 and/or 3. Something. The most generic space possible, but basically, like, anything other than just a port. If it's HD upscaled, if it's remade ground up, I don't know, I don't care. The point is something new Prime 2 or Prime 3. The games that people thought were going to be out before Prime 4 and then weren't. And apparently there's rumors floating around that that Metroid 6 might be in development, so... let's say, new Metroid. Anything other than NSO ports? Possible for 2, because I think that was GameCube. 3 was on Wii, so we'd have to wait for Wii. For Wii support. What was the last Mario Party? Pixel remake of Metroid and Metroid 6? Interesting. When was the last Mario Party? Was that on Switch too? Oh, it's 24. Yeah, okay. It's way too recent still for a new Mario Party. Well, it's getting there. Usually about 3 years between Mario Parties. Next year isn't impossible for Mario Party, but I feel like Mario Party is a game that, like, they'll just kind of drop it when they want to announce it. They aren't going to announce it now for next year. It's not that big of a deal. Weird that Mario Party Jamboree is... Oh, this is the only stuff this person considers notable. Fuck this guy. That's why I was so confuzzled. Alright, sort them by... Release date, oldest first. Snipper clips! That's what they'll make a new one of. Pokken Tournament. It is the big anniversary year of Pokemon. But they would have announced something like that at the Pokemon Direct. Dragon Quest 2, Bayonetta, Kirby. Let's just make this only games. I don't care about DLCs. Pokemon Quest, Sushi Striker, Mario Tennis Aces, Captain Toad. Tui on Switch. You know what? Actually, that's an easy one to put down here because they always have one at least once a year. Yet another Square EX HD 2D game. Yet another one. New one. Not that Adventures of Elliot. Once again, we've made it to 2020 already. Having found, like, nothing more that needs to be, like, that has been dormant since before COVID. WarioWare isn't a game in 5 years. I've seen people say they should do another WarioWare. That, like, uses mouse controls. And at this point, I'm kind of just desperate for filler. Like, my bar for this direct is in fucking hell, and I'm still scared Nintendo isn't going to manage to clear it. And you can tell by the amount of stuff here that's just ports or remakes. Like, I have no positive expectations, basically. Like, a new 3D Mario being real would already clear the bar. We just had a Warriors game recently. You know what? Fuck it, I haven't thrown any memes on here yet. Star Fox Warriors. Like, it lines up way too perfectly. All those flying missions in Age of Imprisonment that was very clearly Team Ninja going, please let us make a Star Fox game, and then Star Fox getting a revival remake. Like, come on. Do I really think it's going to happen this year? No, it's probably like a next year thing if it sells well. But I feel like Team Ninja is absolutely pitching Nintendo on a Star Fox Warriors game. So much of this is just Pokemon. Like, it's been... I would put Bayonetta down because it's been long enough, but with Platinum Games being hollowed out like it is and working on Last Ronin, I don't think Bayonetta 4 is happening anytime soon, if ever. I guess it's only been 3 years since the last WarioWare game. I'll leave it on, though, because some people were speculating. And at this point, like, I need filler. Good God, do I need filler. I'm almost to the point of just putting down a 2D Zelda just for filler. What the fuck is Pokemon Friends? Yeah, Age of Imprisonment was just last year. Like, I think it's probably too early. I think it's probably too early for the Star Fox Warriors game. In fact, I think it's so early I'm gonna take it off. The fuck is Hello Mario? What the fuck is Hello Yoshi? Do we not have a firm date for Rhythm Heaven yet? Oh wait, we do. They just rename it to Rhythm Paradise instead of Rhythm Heaven. Shitty gacha reskin of some old puzzle game? Ah, I see. I appreciate that this listing on GG.deals doesn't know Ring Fit Adventures released. Oh, Friends is the shitty gacha reskin of a puzzle game. Hello Mario and Yoshi are basic interactive apps for young kids. Okay. Let's go back to the rumor mill. Mina the Hollower has come out on Switch too, right? Oh, interesting. Switch 2 is absent from the P4 and 6 trailers. You know what? P4 are on Switch 2, but I think P6 isn't coming to Switch 2. That's my hot take. Someone's like, F-Zero? No. What has Retro Games done recently? Question for Google or Ecosia. I feel like Retro hasn't done anything in a while. Oh no, they did Prime. Never mind, yeah, they've been busy. Who was it that was rumored to be doing that Star Fox racing game? It was Retro, right? Yeah, okay, nothing of value. Oh, okay, it was never even real to begin with. Well, that rules that one out. I thought they hadn't done anything for a while. I was like, oh, maybe they're doing, maybe they're doing a, I don't know, an F-Zero remake, but nope. Frick, I need music. You know, I don't usually do the lo-fi channels, but I need something here. We'll suffer in the lo-fi mines. Yeah, I don't know about any revived franchises. Luigi's Mansion? I don't think of Luigi's Mansion. I don't think that's a big enough franchise to have another game that soon. That's like a once-a-decade kind of game. Is it extremely popular? I feel like it's not that popular. Alright, I'm gonna look into that. Best-selling Switch games. Better see Luigi's Mansion on this list. Mario Kart 8, Animal Crossing, Smash, Breath of the Wild, Odyssey, Pokemon, Tears of the Kingdom, Mario Party, Mario, Sports, Wonder, Ring Fit, Pokemon. There's Luigi's Mansion. Yeah, I guess it did break the 10 million units line back in 2019 came out. The other one? Did the 2 remake make the list? I'll stick a pin in that. I need content. Maybe I'll just put that on. Mario Party Splatoon, Mario Splatoon, Mario Party, Mario, Pokemon, Mario, Monster Hunter Rise, which I guess makes sense, it was exclusive for a while, Stardew Valley, alright, we're in hell now, Kirby, Suika Game, which I didn't even realize you had to pay for, Minecraft, we're in hell now, folks, Link's Awakening Remake, Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics. We're really in hell now. Ah, yes, the 40th most famous Nintendo Switch game of all time. Momotaro Dentetsu Showa Heisei Reiwa Moteban. Tamagotchi Life Living the Dream has almost cracked the top 40. It's at 42 right now, beating such games as 1-2 Switch, Pikmin 4, and Paper Mario The Origami King. And Among Us. It also beat Among Us. And Metroid Dread. Yeah, Luigi's Mansion 2 Remake did not sell well, did it? Where did it land? 69th place! Well, Luigi's Mansion 3 sold well enough. I need filler. Fuck it. Literally, I'm over here like, I just need 2 more video games. This company has excited me so little in the last year that I'm running out of video games. I'm actively considering putting 2D Zelda down, even when we know OOT Remake is coming. That's how fucked we are. Gang, I think in the interest of getting this done, I have to do this. I don't want to have to do this, but I think I have to do this. It's the only way we're gonna get this done. Mario Sports. You hate it. I hate it. But unfortunately, it's probably pretty likely to happen. It's been a few years since the last one. Next Level Games hasn't been working on anything that we know of for 4 years. Now for some extra bullshit. Just because I like chaos. What's the meme? Hold on. There it is. Another 3 years of Three Houses Discords for some reason. For some reason is because it's going to get a port or a Switch 2 edition. Seeing as Fortune's Weave is basically a prequel to it, I could see them making the logic that like they need to port the game to Switch 2 to get people to sell it, even though it's literally already available on Switch 1. Like, Switch 2 editions at this point are just stupid bullshit to get people to buy a game a second time. And absolutely, I could see them doing it because of the Three Houses prequel thing. In which case, if we're just at the point of throwing bullshit on here to add some randomization... The very rumored Xenoblade 2 one can go on here as well. Any last minute thoughts? As I have successfully managed to somehow consume an entire stream almost, just doing this, mostly because the first like half hour was just me talking about the OOT remake. There's always one more hell of a place I could check. Let's just kind of run down the homepage of my search engine here and see what we got here. Anything new that I actually care about? Actually, I'm gonna make that one for Xenoblade harder. It's gonna be for Xenoblade 2 and Pikmin 4 ports. You have to hit both of them. Nate the Hate has to have been 100% accurate. I only get a mark it if both of those ports happen. Make it a little harder. Oh, the site's using AI. On principle, I'm not including this shit. I'm just leaving. Yeah, I mean, everybody's just kind of predicting the same four things. It's all just OOT, Star Fox, Nate the Hate was right, and then Pocopia. Like, it feels like nobody has any actual expectations this year. Apparently Call of Duty got rated in Korea, so... Like, the first two Black Ops games got rated. So sure, why not? Fucking Call of Duty. Call the Duty! GTA 6 is not coming to the Switch 2. I'm not going to entertain that. I appreciate that this page is like a quiz at the bottom to see if you actually read. And the first question is, what is the main reason many fans expect a big Nintendo Direct to follow Summer Game Fest? In June 2026, and the potential answers are: third-party publishers vote on which platform holder must present in June. Nintendo traditionally hosts a major June showcase outlining future games each year. Hardware regulations require Nintendo to present new consoles every June. Or Summer Game Fest organizers officially confirmed a Nintendo Direct for June 8th. Hilarious. Frankly, hilarious. Someone was having fun writing that. I hope somebody wrote it and it wasn't just made by AI. People really want Clair Obscur on Switch. I don't care enough to include it. Oh, fine. I guess. Four, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28. You know what? I'll do one more thing. One more thing. I open up the fucking Nintendo subreddit and like one of the first things I see is that Aonuma tried to graduate from Zelda after Wind Waker, but Miyamoto assigned him to Twilight Princess anyway, and he figured he should just give up escaping his fate. By the way, there is Treehouse afterwards. OOT Remake is gonna absolutely be there. More reason that I think they'll show more than just the first 20% of the game. Alright, this sucks. Send me to the Switch subreddit, they're more fun. Somebody redeemed 28 eShop cards to buy a Switch 2. That's cool. You know, nobody's actually posting what they expect to see. This sucks. Take it back. We're not adding anything else. We're done. This is it. This is everything anybody has ever predicted for the Switch 2 for the entirety of this year. This is it. This is all we could manage to squeeze out of this line. I feel bad for anybody who, like me, was like, yeah, I always make a bingo card. No, the Switch 2 is dead. That's hyperbole, by the way, if you couldn't tell. Don't take that out of context. Oh yeah! Deltarune Chapter 5! I forgot! Toby Fox technically works for them. Thank you for the reminder. Legitimately forgot. It's like I almost forgot about 2x2's release date. Can we find one more thing? Can we dig deep inside of ourselves and find one more really stupid thing? SpongeBob. Lego. Would putting amiibo down be too easy because you know they're gonna do an amiibo of like... Well... I was gonna say of Sheik, but there's already the Sheik amiibo for, Oh no. I'm gonna write this one down, aren't I? Sheik. Everybody wants it. Either like a Sheik campaign for the OOT remake or a standalone Sheik game. I'm gonna put it down. This is like there's a 1-year window now where that could actually fucking happen. And we're in it. So there we go. That gets us to 30. I think 30 is good. See? 30. Alright. Random.org. How many times should I hit this shuffle button? Wow, I rolled 1 to 100 and it actually gave me 10. I was expecting it to get like 64 or something. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright, there we go. That's the bingo card. That's the card I'm rolling with. Prime 2 and or 3, re-something. Expedition 33, I guess! Macopia DLC, WarioWare, Star Fox 2026. At least 3 Nintendo Switch 2 editions. Nintendo DS coming to NSO. No World DLC. A new sports game. Yet another Square Enix HD 2D game. The Hookshot survives. A new Metroid game. The OOT remake Free Space. New Animal Crossing. The One More Thing game gets a 2027 release date. Both Xenoblade 2 and Pikmin 4 ports. Splatoon Raiders. Another 3 years of Three Houses Discourse for some reason, because they either get a port or a Switch 2 edition. Fortune's Weave. Dungeons remain in the OOT remake. Call of Duty, a new Wii Watch trailer. P4R on Switch, the 2x2 release date, and Deltarune Chapter 5. That's it. That's our bingo card. I like it. Seems good to me. Thumbs up. Looks at the camera, thumbs up. Now, somehow against all fucking odds, that took us all the way to 10:40, 20 minutes before we normally cut stream. Definitely not enough time to make any meaningful progress. That might be enough time to successfully boot into my save file of Guardians of the Galaxy. Great job, everyone. I love when Nintendo does this. Nintendo makes me do this, I swear. I don't do this because I want to. It's not like I have... God. 10 years of doing this. Pulls up, like, my reaction to a fucking E3 presentation back before the Switch was even announced, and I'm probably like, this is the one! They're going to announce the NX here. It's like, ah, you poor, happy, naive fool. You're probably right. Man, I remember watching the fucking Star Fox Zero, Tokyo Mirage Sessions, Animal Crossing, Welcome Amiibo, party game, bullshit, E3. I remember watching that one. I watched that entire treehouse. I was so into Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Maybe I should play Tokyo Mirage Sessions on stream at some point. I've actually never played it. Too late, but AA7 is another one. Silently thumbs up at the camera. There is no camera. I haven't had a camera installed in years. Listen. I would take that over a Mario sports game. Let's be honest. It's probably not happening, but I would rather have that on my card than Mario Sports. Nobody wants to sit through another 10 minutes of, now, here's how Mario can use the fire flower to imbue his golf shots with the element of fire. Nobody cares. Just remake Toadstool Tour. That's all we want. Just remake Tennis 64. That's all we want. We don't want these gimmicks and power-ups. This isn't Mario Kart. This isn't people don't want items in Smash. This isn't Mario Kart. Pretty sure people don't even want items in Mario Kart. I've seen the discourse around Sonic. Okay. I'm not gonna put it on here because I don't think they're going to announce it right now, but for my own reminder, when we do this next year, well, no, because next year's too late. If we do one of these later in the year for something, Mario, well, no, other way around. Sonic Racing Cross Worlds X Mario Kart DLC. Alright, just remember that one for later. I don't think they're going to do it now, but just remember it for later. May become relevant. If they do it at this one, I'm going to give myself a pat on the back. In fact, I'll literally write it down here. Literally just put it down there. Sonic Racing Cross World X Mario Kart DLC equals pat yourself on the back. Alright, there we go. That's the bingo card. Look at that bad boy. There. Already pre-prepped and pre-placed. But anyway, I guess, since we just spent an entire stream doing this... Listen, it's my stream, I get to decide the content. Listen, we'll get back to Guardians next week. I'm only maybe trying to stall. So that I can maybe stall out so these games don't all end on the same fucking week. And I have to figure out 3 new things to play. Alright? Also, no, we will not ever be streaming P4R. I learned my lesson with P5R. You cannot make me. If you want to make me, then pay me enough that I, can consider this a part-time job, and then I'll stream P4R for I'll do 3 days of streams a week that are just P4R. That's what it would take. It took me 2.5 years, well, 2.25 years to fucking beat P5R. I'm not doing that again. Anyway, though, back, I guess, tomorrow evening after work to watch the Nintendo Direct and check off the bingo board. And then back on Friday at normal time for, Time Stranger. Hopefully we'll finish the 3rd and final DLC and get back to, the final dungeon. Saturday, more randomizer stuff. We beat 3 whole games last time we did randomizer. So there's only 3 games left to beat. We're gonna start with Pokemon and see if we're still soft-locked or if we can... Pokemon Crystal, we could be soft-locked, we could be in go mode. I'm not sure. We will open the game and find out. And then we'll do probably some MM, because we got a ton of checks for MM we can do now. And hopefully we'll get something into go mode again on Saturday. That'd be nice. We basically just need one more mountain to get Peak into go mode. And then next week, Monday, we will indeed continue Guardians of the Galaxy. So, till, I guess, tomorrow night,